Hello, I'm Jake Boudrot, Civic Journalist at Tello Community Television. In this episode of Strait Talk, Dave Ritcey, the Minister of Communities, Culture, Tourism and Heritage, as well as Richmond MLA and Energy Minister Trevor Boudreau, toured several projects in Richmond County on September 5th. In addition to the new playground in Arichat, the ministers visited the new splashpad and fitness center in St. Peter's, as well as the amphitheater project in Louisdale, observed some of the roadwork done in Janvrin's Island and Port Royal, then that evening attended the opening ceremonies of the Intermediate Baseball Provincial Tournament at the newly renovated Petit de Grat ballfield, which, like the previously mentioned projects, received provincial government funding. During a tour of the playground project in Arichat, I spoke with Ministers Ritcey and Boudreau, as well as Arichat Community Development Association President Rachelle Samson.
So I'm here with Rachelle Samson, who is the president of the Arichat Community Development Association, and we're here at the playground in Arichat, which opened this summer. And from what I gathered, there was quite a few people that came here this summer, young people that used the facility.
That's right. Yeah, every time I swung by, it was packed with young kids and older kids, and everyone seemed to really enjoy it.
So when did this project start? Let's go back to the beginning. When did it start, and who was involved in the early stages?
Yeah, so I think I want to say 2019, but I mean time has passed, so it's hard to remember it all. But the CDN had a economic development officer reach out to the public to see if anyone was interested in revamping the old playground that was behind Gulliver's on the Lower Road. And so a group of volunteers had kind of gotten together and decided that they were going to take that on. And after some conversation, there was an opportunity to go a little bit bigger. And so this plan developed after that.
And CDN, that's the Conseil Développement Économique de la Nouvelle-Écosse.
That's right.
That's correct. Okay. And so how much work was involved? I know you guys had chased the ace, did a lot of fundraising, a lot of organizing.
Yeah.
And so maybe you can talk about that. How much work went into this?
Yeah, it's incredible, really. I mean, over the last 5 years, significant amount of fundraising and grant applications, and some were successful and some weren't. And those are hefty applications most of the time. They require quite a bit of a package that gets submitted. And so we had volunteers from start to finish help us just kind of gather the funds that we needed and try and do this in phases, and so that we could, bite away at it. But at some point we had to bite the big bullet and buy the equipment, which was, I think close to $250,000, and it had gone up after COVID. So there was some revamping there. And so by the time, and again, this whole project was built, like the physical build of the playground was done by volunteers. So that was an incredible project last fall.
So during that fundraising phase, you guys had a lot of contributions from the community, from organizations, businesses, private individuals, and maybe you can talk about that.
We did, yeah. So we had some suppers, we had Chase the Ace, we had ticket sales. We did an abundance of fundraising where, just local individuals donated a lot of their time and money to help us raise some funds. And then we had some bigger sponsorships from Clearwater Seafoods had donated or had granted us $10,000. We had the credit union that donated $100,000 from their seed fund. We had a Communities, Culture and Heritage that gave us, at this point, $310,000. We had other community groups donate some funds. And so it was ultimately an extreme community effort. The municipality donated some funds as well. So it took everyone to make it happen.
Yeah, and that leads me to my next question. Government, you said the municipality, the province gave some money here. Minister Boudreau and Minister Ritcey were both here today touring and seemed very impressed with it. So maybe you want to talk about that government support you guys received.
Yeah, so we worked with Communities, Culture and Heritage on multiple pieces throughout this program, and they really saw the value, especially after COVID, trying to get individuals and young individuals outside for recreation and health purposes. And so we worked with them and submitted quite a thick package to them to prove the importance of this project and how much we needed it in the community, and they saw that value.
Now, the equipment arrived last summer. Is that correct? Most of the equipment that's here?
I believe so, yeah. I think it was probably July.
And you mentioned this earlier, but maybe you can go in a little more detail. How much work went into, once you guys got the equipment, to finally putting it together here?
Yeah, so the original supplier had quoted us, I think, somewhere around $100,000 to build this unit. And we had some volunteers that said, we're willing to take that on and do that ourselves. And so they started in July, and you got to start from the ground up. So you start with gravel, you start with, welding. There was it took people of all kinds of skills to be able to put this together. But ultimately, I think it took 3 months or so to put it in piece by piece. We had people working nights and evenings and mornings and days, and it was an incredible thing to watch come to life, and such a big structure that once it came up, it really made all the difference.
Now, my understanding was the plan was to open the playground last fall, but because you guys were found out that you received funding for the rubber flooring here that we're seeing, that you guys had to delay that plan to kind of put in this rubber flooring. Is that basically what happened?
That is exactly what happened. So towards the end of the season, the playground was just about ready, and we had submitted an application for funding for the flooring to make it completely accessible versus it being any type of pea gravel or wood chips. And once we found out we were successful, it was a very hard decision to have to put that on hold for another year, especially with the kids being able to see the structure. Then it was really tough to have to explain to them that they had to wait, until the spring to be able to get on here. But once I think the first customer for the people to come and put in the rubber, and once they did that and they hit the ground running, I think it was open shortly after in June, and there were kids on it immediately after enjoying the new rubber as well.
It's an unusual flooring. It's soft, but not too soft.
That's right.
And it provides the support. And if anybody were to fall, it did have a fairly soft landing. It's very unique. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cloud-like. What I would assume clouds feel like. Yeah.
The fencing, you mentioned that now, and I look around and I see most of the fencing is done, but that's an ongoing project that you guys are looking at finishing, I assume, soon.
That's right. Yep. So we have 2 other volunteers in the community who are doing that for us. So some of the posts were crooked and some of the posts were non-existent. So we had to weld some new posts. We had to order some fencing, and so they're slowly piecing that all back together for us, so that it's a little bit safer and a little bit harder for anyone to run out or get hurt.
And landscaping as well. You guys have plans to do some landscaping. What does that entail, and how long do you anticipate that'll take?
We hope to be able to, we're heading into the fall, and so we're getting back on track a little bit. We're hoping to finish the concrete things that we have, like the fencing and some rubber just off on the side there. And so then looking at a phase 2, which will likely include some parking, potentially some more equipment, or, kind of maybe go back to the community and see what it is that we're missing and what we might need, and then take that into consideration for what might be our next steps.
So after landscaping, what is ahead? What are you looking at doing, or is that the end of the project essentially?
I don't think it's the end. I think, so many years has passed since our original project or thought that we thought we would execute here. And so I think it's important to kind of go back to the drawing board and see, what the priorities are of government, and so where there's some funding that could help us. Because without that, it is very difficult to do any type of project unless it's quite small and you do some fundraising. But, I don't think projects of this kind should solely rely on the funds of individuals locally. And so I think it's important to look at the grants and see what you can make work and what projects fit those categories.
Now, maybe you can explain a little bit. This playground is adjacent to a cultural core, but it's not a part of the school. So it's a community playground and not a school playground?
That's right. Yep. It was kind of strategically located so that it might get the most use where it is next to a school. But it is a community playground and not owned by a cultural core.
I'm here with Nova Scotia Cabinet Ministers. First, David Ritcey, who is the Minister of Communities, Culture, Tourism and Heritage, and Richmond MLA, and Energy Minister Trevor Boudreau. So I understand you guys recently toured some projects that are underway here in Richmond County, and maybe start off first by where did you go and what did you see?
Yeah, so I wanted to take the minister out to kind of show him just the impact that some of these projects that we've approved as a government in Richmond County. So we started off today. We visited the splashpad in St. Peter's. And we talked about the impact that's had in the community there. We're here now in Arichat, and obviously at this beautiful playground with the accessibility features that we have. So showing that to them. We're going to spend some time in Louisdale at the amphitheater a little bit later on, where we're going to show them kind of the beautiful project that Lions Club is doing there, and then we're going to finish it off at the ballfield in Petit de Grat tonight. They're having a provincial wide tournament, and actually Trurro's involved where Minister Ritcey's from, and so we're going to get to see some ball and just see the fantastic job they did there. So this is about ensuring that the government of Nova Scotia knows how important this is to communities like ours.
And what are your impressions of what you saw? The splash pad, the playground, the amphitheater, and of course the ball field. You've been down to see it. So what are your impressions overall?
Look, it's incredible to see how quickly these facilities are already being used, right? If you think about in St. Peter's, that splash pad, they had people at the door waiting for it the moment it was opened up. And obviously it's been a dry summer. And what's very unique about that project is that it's a recirculating system. So even though St. Peter's is going through some challenges with water, the actual splash pad is being very used because people aren't having to fill up their pools or run a sprinkler in their yard to have some cool time. They can go to a place that's utilizing water and recirculating it. So it's a great facility for that. And then obviously this playground's getting a lot of use, and there's been some incredible games played at the ball field. There's been, whether you think of at the beginning of the summer, the school ball tournaments that were going on, and minor ball that's happened, and obviously the RABA, and now some provincial championships going on over the last couple of weeks. That ball field's been packed also. And so I'm just really proud of the work that's been done in the community groups that I've been able to help, and we've been able to help, and that's what this is all about. So
yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned that your government has provided funding to all of those projects, quite a great deal of money if you add up all of them together. And I assume you regard that as money well spent, and that's what you're there to do.
Absolutely. Our government, and maybe Minister Ritcey will say something to this, but we really like helping those that help their communities. And so when we have active groups in your communities that are engaged and want to do really good projects, well, we try to do what we can. And I mean, look, we can't do every project, but obviously ones that we are able to help with, it's so nice to see them well utilized. So really proud of the work that our government has done to try and support community. And obviously active living is a big part of that. It's great for your physical health, but also your mental health. And so we're seeing that obviously in spades here.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll add to that, that's what our department does. It's about community and building up community, and you know what, truly this space here in Arichat, and this, obviously the splash pad we've seen earlier today, brings communities together. Places like this brings communities together, and they have the opportunity to utilize both, the community and the school. It's so important for this use of this playground, and so excited to be a contributor to this, as well as a contributor to the splash pad and some of the other great facilities we get to see right here in Richmond County. And it's truly an honor to travel around with the local MLA, but also the Minister of Energy, and sit at the cabinet table with him, and meet with the wonderful people that get these projects going, because it's about volunteers, it's about community-based knowledge and understanding and the needs of the community. And when it comes to us, we review every application, and truly advocates like MLA Boudreau and Mr. Boudreau, he comes and fights and advocates for his community all the time. And I can tell you, you're well represented here, and we're so excited that we can do projects just like this. We're proud of that.
And Trevor hit on this too. You have nice spaces, safe spaces for young people to play in, like the playground here, the ball field. Young people, and then some people at a little bit more advanced age, the amphitheater people get to go out and be active in their communities, and that's a big part of, because I know you guys gave some funding for recreation facilities and things like, and grants like that. I believe was approved sometime this week. So I assume that's a big priority for your government, is to promote spaces like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting people active, getting people moving is so important. Not only for us to provide money to these facilities, but getting people moving, keep them active. The health benefits of getting people moving, mental health, and just overall physical health is so important. And having spaces like this, or a ball field, or even a hockey rink, at the end of the day, it's about getting people moving.
One of the interesting parts about all of the facilities we're touring today, they're all outside, and I think what COVID has taught us is the importance of getting outside, and this is exactly what we're doing. It's good for your mental health, good for your physical health, and I've always said it as a chiropractor too, movement is medicine, right? So keep moving, keep people active, and they're going to keep healthy.
That's right. And your impressions, Minister Ritcey, Trevor was they're very pleased with the projects, and I assume what you've seen thus far, you've been pretty happy and good investment for your government.
Absolutely, absolutely, and this is what our department does. This is what our government does. We invest in communities, in a community like Arichat, community like St. Peter's, Petit de Grat, anywhere in Richmond County, right across the province, even. Investing in communities, and these projects that we've seen so far are fantastic, and we're so proud to invest in those projects for sure.
Thank you for watching Strait Talk. Please tune in again to find out what we will be talking about.